Okay, I'll begin my talk shortly. So, thanks everyone for coming. I'll be presenting on easy translation using Deepl. So, some intro about myself. I'm a software developer and also occasionally blog about stuff that I learn about tech. You probably might know of me through my work in Supabase and also some other open source projects. And I'm a low-profile developer that likes gaming, webtoons, and anime. But otherwise, career-wise, I'm a software engineer at Padlet, working on the web app and mobile app. So before I begin the actual presentation, I'll just talk a bit about Padlet because every one of you almost asked me what the hell is Padlet. So Padlet is a software company that's based in SF, but most of the team is over there. Yeah, they are sitting there. Yeah. So Padlet is a software where you can upload any type of content. So you can see got the pizza, got the sun. So these are like images, but you can also like upload maybe map locations and also text. So it's a very nice collaboration tool, and a lot of teachers use it to organize lessons. And one of the cool features is what you're seeing now. So this is a slideshow. As long as you have upload content into your Padlet, you can convert it to a slideshow, like Google Slides. So later you'll see the main Padlet, but for now, we'll proceed with the presentation. So what the talk will be about. I'll talk about how translation is generally done, and what is Deepl, who uses Deepl, and actually using the product. So how is translation usually done? But before we talk about that, we need to first understand how strings are usually stored. So this is a PDF. Okay, let's start from the beginning. For very basic strings, usually you will store in a constant like this, like a welcome text. And then if you want to add multiple languages, maybe at the start you'll think, oh, well, let's just declare another constant. But then as you add more languages, that is not really sustainable. So then maybe the next line of thought will be, okay, let's create an object to store these strings instead. Maybe I can have the main key as welcome, and then the different languages. So something like hello, welcome, and then konnichiwa, yokoso. So after that, then you think, oh, then what if I have more strings? Do I just add another key for the question? Like what is up for snacks later? So because after my talk is a break time already, but don't think about it. So then the next solution that most people have standardized to, as well as I18 and NIX, is to use multiple local JSON files like this. So there will be an English.json and then a Japanese.json. Sorry. Okay, yes. So how do we get translation? Though this is the fun part. Usually you would think about like, oh, let's just go to Google Translate and copy paste a text that you find. So something like this. And then after that, you would think, but what if I have multiple texts? Am I going to do this for each one and single them? Well, a cool thing that I found out accidentally is that Copilot can do it for you, but let's not do that also. And finally, this is one of the more established solutions for getting translations. So you hire actual professional translator to like just translate strings for you. But I'm actually a poor developer. I don't have money. I don't have the resources like my company. So how do I do it? Well, you can use Deepl. So it's currently known as the world's most accurate translator. And so what it does behind the hood is something like this, or you can ask the ML AI experts in the panel over here. But they just do some machine learning and deep learning to get very accurate translations. And even professional translators have said that they think that Deepl gives better translations than Google Translate and everything else. So this is a very appealing reason why we should use Deepl. So who uses Deepl? Let's start with a very easy use case. Because most of us are gamers or like are familiar with anime, I will just show you this video briefly. I'm sorry about the thumbnail. I don't know why the guy chooses to do it like that. Okay, I'll just show you 10 seconds because that's all you need to know how Deepl is being used.
Thank you for saving my life.
私の命を救ってくれてありがとう。大丈夫です。
Okay, so the first part, right, you see him talking in English like a normal guy, and then like suddenly it becomes the waifu version. So the waifu version is what the gamers online actually hear. They don't hear the guy talking. So it's pretty cool that you can use Deepl to just translate your voice like that. And that's one of the use case that the layman can do lah. Okay. Then the next use case would be, now that we are doing like the Twitter migration, Mastodon is one of the software that actually incorporates accessibility a lot, and their translation is done using Deepl. And finally, Palette will also uses Deepl for translating our support knowledge base. Yeah, we support 31 languages over here, which is like what Deepl supports. Okay, so now you know how who uses Deepl. Let's talk about how to translate actual locale JSON. So this is what I briefly showed just now for how the locale JSON should look like. So the key will be an English text, and then the value is what you want to be the translation result. But then if you use Deepl directly, this is what happens. Even the key gets translated, and this is not what you want, because then your website won't render that value. So let's try fixing this problem. Since the talk is about easy translation, right? So I'll demonstrate the Deepl on starter projects, something like npm create and something. But then, since we are also lacking time, I'll just show you the preview of it. So here's an example. Vue.18n is a plugin that's used for Vue.js. And if you go to the Nux3 framework, which, by the way, I don't know how to use the framework, but I could integrate the Deepl GitHub action over here. Yeah, it's in the official docs. So you can follow it, and you'll get an app like this. Yeah. So it's a very simple app. You just translate into different languages. And let me know if you can't see the text. Okay. So the workflow is over here. It's a very simple translate YAML. You just use the Deepl translation GitHub action. And every time you want run a pull request, or you can configure to your needs, you'll translate every locale JSON that's within your project. So something like this, hello name, and then language. Then you'll get the other locales. Something like this. Okay, then moving on to the slides. So one tough part about this is that initially you would think that why not you just like take the value in a JSON and translate it rather than the whole object, right? So that's what I did initially. But do you notice a problem in the es.json? Okay. So this is the problem. If you just translate the value, you will end up like missing the parameter. So you then in the web app you have the i18n plugin won't be able to find the particular value to replace. Then your app just crashes. So the next iteration would be to actually keep all these values and leave them untranslated. This is provided out of the box with the GitHub action. But one drawback is that if you notice carefully for like the Japanese and the Chinese version, oh not Chinese, sorry, the Korean version, the san and the like the polite term for addressing a person is lost because of keeping that particular parameter. This can be also addressed using like argumental positioning of braces later on, but I haven't implemented it. You can open a pull request for it. Yes. Okay. Then the second project, so we have looked at flat JSON, which is one level dev. The next one will be on refine i18. And so this is an example. It won't be en.json, but it will be like a folder that's like locale/en/comments.json. So again, you can find this in the docs, how to create a translation for other languages in an automated way. So this is the project. This is the deployed version of the app. So you will have like admin dashboard, and you can click on stuff on different languages. You can change from Japan, EN, ND. Then all of these will be translated. So for this, there's also the workflow. And since you saw it already, I won't show it again. Let me find the public. So each language will have their own JSON, and the common JSON, interestingly, has multiple layers. So they have pages, login, and then title. So this is a different way of structuring locales if you have same text across multiple pages. Yeah. So again, you can use the GitHub action to do it. So after we talk about like saying that Deepl addresses the issue for JSON files, what about HTML? So this is an example request and response directly from the documentation. You can see that they actually translated quite well also. Like all the title and paragraphs are translated. But then there's a tiny issue. I'll show you in this project, Superbase. Okay, so here's a side-by-side view of the translated versus the original README. So for Markdown files, it's a bit more difficult because Deepl actually doesn't support it out of the box. But for most of the part, if you use their XML formatting instead, it still works. So this is the result. You can see on the right, most of the things are still translated very well. And Markdown doesn't use like the text. So you might expect some problem if you use Deepl directly. But with the GitHub action, it might be better. Yeah. So one interesting use case that came about is to ignore specific terms. So just now we saw in the JSON that certain parameters are ignored. That is done by interesting trick. Oh, yeah, this by the maintainer. So because in certain languages, they are objects rather than how we interpret them as programming language. Like Rust is supposed to be a thing to be translated. So I looked through the docs and there's an ignore text parameter that you can use. So this is how you use it. You just put something for the ignore text and then the example response will exclude that for translation. So this is the before state where with the English, you don't want to translate any of the languages. So this will be the end result of what is translated. Only the headers will be translated. And this is done by adding a no translate start tag in the document. So then I will pick up this text and let Deepl know that, hey, don't translate all this. So then they will end up as only translating the text that you want. Okay, so what's the benefit of using this GitHub action over like implementing your own Deepl node call also? Well, you can do that, but with a GitHub action, it ensures you get the most up-to-date translation for your project, especially for open source projects. So you see on the left, right, this is the translated file by the community 1 year ago. Because no one touched it and like no one has been actively keeping up with the README, the project maintainers didn't know. But after I added this GitHub action, it's obvious that how many files were left unattended. So if you have an action, you can make sure by yourself that most stuff are up to date for every language. And then if you use the GitHub action, there's less translation effort. So just 2 weeks ago, a guy helped to contribute to the translation by making the phrasing better. So this is something that they can do instead of looking through the whole English document and translating from scratch. Okay, so this is the conclusion. You can use this GitHub action by going to the marketplace and then and I wanted to echo this statement that is found in one of the GitHub articles that I like. So every person deserves equal right to access information. This is the words of Paul Chill, which is also a Dota gamer, whose disability has been a catalyst for creativity. So although we have been talking about accessibility in terms of HTML structure and so on, language is something that you shouldn't be missing out also. Not everyone will have a browser that provides inbuilt translation by default. It will be good that every app provides their own localization in some way or another. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Estee.
Okay, so if you want to look at the main palette, please scan the left QR code. You'll see like all the slides at a glance. Then the slideshow will be this presentation slide. For the right one is my website QR code. If you want to create a QR code like this, I will open source my project soon so you can use it. Yes, thank you.